minutes, and then we're out of here. They better hurry up.
We're gonna mess with it.
I know.
You know, early in the game, Katie Lou seemed to be standing around until that first TV timeout. And then she came out and she started diving inside for a layup, getting an offensive rebound, and it just kind of changed things for her. Did you say something to her?
No, what we did was we just ran a couple of sets for her that we're going to force her to go in the lane, and we're going to throw it to her, and we're going to get something in the lane. And I think once she touched the ball and scored, I think that got her off and running because, sometimes you just need one touch. You just need one bucket to kind of get you going. But it was the most, I thought it was the most aggressive I've seen her, combination inside, outside, that I've seen in these first 4 games, for sure.
Great also aggression from Gabby. I mean, she
Yeah.
looked at one point like she was going to get a triple-double.
Gabby, we're trying to just play to our strengths, and we keep mentioning this to our players. We're not going to get any bigger as the season goes on. I never remember a year when our post players got taller. This is what we've got, and we just have to constantly play to our strengths, and certainly Gabby played to her strengths today. She did all the things that she knows she's good at, and it was really good to see her get involved in so many different ways. She's just getting so much more versatile offensively than just the previous 2 years where she, you knew how she was going to get her shots. Now she's got a lot of variety in her offensive game.
Last couple of games, kind of grind offensively. What was it like today to had a kind of free-flowing offensive look out there for you guys?
If you could tell every team, how to defend you, it would be great. But each game is different. Each team tries to do something completely different defensively, and Dayton puts a lot of pressure on you with their dribble. So they put a lot of people going to the basket, getting in the lane on you. So when they miss, there's not a lot of people back on defense a lot of times. And what ended up happening was, we were able to get out in transition. We rebounded the ball a little better, and we got out in transition a little better, and we got some easy buckets, which we didn't get. LSU or Baylor, we just didn't get a lot of easy baskets, and we got a couple tonight, and that really helped. And once again, if you shoot the ball well, everything looks good. They're a very physical team. For a team that's not overly big. They're bigger than we are in some positions, but they're very physical and they play really hard, and their guards are really difficult to keep in front of you. And we struggled a lot of times defensively to defend them, but when you make a lot of shots, it makes everything look great.
With Thanksgiving coming up, what's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
What's my favorite Thanksgiving food? I'm probably like everybody else. I probably like the same thing that everybody else likes. I never pass up any really good food, but my mother's up for the week, so I'm sure we'll have turkey like everybody that's fortunate enough to have Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm sure we'll do that, but I don't know when the lasagna's coming out, but it won't be long before it comes out. You can bet on that. And you know what I really like about Thanksgiving? Obviously, I never knew this when I was a kid, but sweet potato pie and pumpkin pie and all that good stuff. I love that stuff. When I was a kid, we never had that. That's something that I kind of found out about later as I got older. So I'm like everybody else on Thanksgiving. with a little lasagna.
You know, you've talked in the past about how rest is kind of, sorry.
There you go, Carl. Go ahead. No, you have the mic, Carl. Come on.
Come on, Carl.
Come on.
Well, I have a two-part question. That's why I waited.
Pat, you asked the second part. Let him ask the first part.
First part is, for the first 5 minutes, were you having Albany flashbacks? And the second part is, how do you feel the team handled the grind of the 4 games in 9 days with 2 on the road?
Yeah, we know that when we play teams like Dayton, you know what you're going to get. The style of play is very similar. They're not going to get, I shouldn't say never, but you know, at schools like Dayton, generally speaking, you're not going to get a Gabby Williams type player a lot of times, or you might not even get Crystal Dangerfield type player a lot of times. But you know you're going to have to face kids that are pretty tough. They're good with the ball. You know, they're going to make a lot of outside shots, whether you guard them or not sometimes. And they're going to be tough. So we knew what to expect. Even though it's a new coach, even though it's a new roster, there's still some kids back. So we knew what we were going to get. And we got exactly what we thought we would get from Dayton. We look tired at times. You know, you go to Florida, you come home for an easy game against Baylor, right? And then you got to get on a plane and fly to Louisiana. You know, so we've been traveling a lot, and I think the kids are tired. But I thought if you'd have said at the beginning of the season, hey, after your first 4 games, would you be happy if you're 4-0? Yeah, I'd be pretty happy with 4-0. I feel pretty good about what we've done these 4 games, and I'm looking forward to some time off until next Tuesday.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was going to ask. You've talked in the past about how, you know, it's overrated that kids get tired, but after that many games in so few days, what are your plans for them over the Thanksgiving break? Do you just want to for them to take some time?
Yeah.
How are you going?
Yeah, well, the fact that we don't play till Tuesday, we're going to take a couple days off. Those kids that can get home are going home, and those that can't, I hope they like lasagna at Thanksgiving. And when, you know, we'll get back together again sometime later, you know, in the afternoon on Friday to get them all organized, whatever, and then we'll really start practice Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you know, because we go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because we play Tuesday and Thursday. So after we get back and start Saturday, we don't get another break for a while, and then after Thursday, then it's Texas, and then it's Notre Dame, and it's just not nonstop, you know, until Christmas time. So we're going to try to get as much rest as we can these next couple of days.
Coach, Kia scored. She had a good game against LSU, kind of struggled early on today, and then hit those 2 threes late in the second half. How big was that for her to kind of get some scoring back and kind of get back in the swing of things, look like her old self?
Yeah, you know, kids are affected by whether shots go in or not. You hate to say it, but they are. When kids start missing shots, they start to think about that rather than what else they need to do to help themselves or help their team. And I know she was really struggling with it, and I know she was putting a lot of pressure on herself to make some. And sometimes all it takes is 1 or 2 of them to get you back in the groove. And hopefully, you know, she's going to be all right. She just needs a break like everybody else. I think when we come back next Tuesday, she'll be back to her old self again.
Coach, a sequence in the third quarter where Crystal makes 3 thread-the-needle passes when they're back to like 12. Talk about that.
Yeah. You know, we were saying on the bench at one point that you could coach some guards until they're 25, and they still wouldn't be able to see some of the things that she sees because you're born with that stuff, you know. we used to talk all the time about that you can tell a kid to look inside, and they have no idea what they're looking at, you know. She sees everything, and the key is throwing the right pass at the right time, and she does that. And that's not from coaching. That's from just an innate ability that she has, and 9 assists today, you know, and that particular sequence, that was probably her, you know, showcasing all the little things that she can do to help your team. She only made 1 bucket today, and she dominated the game for long stretches at a time.
Turnover was the easiest pass you had, too.
Huh?
Turnover was the easiest pass you had.
Well, you know, you're not going to get everything all the time, you know. And just she's, you know, they had her after the DePaul game. Everybody was ready to anoint her to, you know, the next Chris Paul or something. I don't know. And against LSU, she looked like Les Paul. God bless him, he's no longer with us, but he's a great guitar player.
Anybody else?
So you have one more game in this place between now and January 21st. I know it's
Stop, is that true?
Play the ball and
Neil,
what's that?
seriously, we have one game at Gamble between now and January 21st? Wow. Who the hell made that schedule? Wow. Wow. That's, yeah, well, yeah, yeah. That's kind of the philosophy that we've tried to adopt, you know, when today, you know, was just a little bit out of the ordinary, but whenever the kids aren't on campus, you know, we try to play in Hartford. And then when the kids come back, they happen to come back right around that time, and we have a ton of games here. And the kids love playing here, believe it or not. I mean, we don't get to practice here as much as we used to, obviously, but I know they love playing here, but we got to do what we got to do. We got to play where we got to play.